Good morning, April 13th. And as you can see, we got even more snow overnight. In fact, it's snowing a little bit now, but I hope it's not enough to bother the camera, the phone. So yeah, I feel like I'm stuck in a series of bad movies. It's like we had winter, and then we had winter 2, fall spring, and then we had return of the winter, and we had bride of the winter, and now I think we're up to that last sequel, winter 4. This time it's personal. This today really feels personal. Shoveling this morning, and then clearing off the car for my wife and for me, our other car, because I'll need it later today. It's a lot of snow, a lot more than there was yesterday. So the walking is a little heavy. The sidewalks are haphazardly cleared. I mean, this will all melt in a week. Next week it'll be like this weekend. It's supposed to be plus 10 and above freezing, but oh, there's a bunny rabbit over there. Technically a snowshoe hare. I don't know if you saw him or not. So I'm going to keep this walk a little shorter simply because I have a haircut. A hair appointment sounds a little pretentious. Oh, there he is, down there at the end. He hasn't quite gotten his spring colors yet, so he's actually still the right color for this. Oh, there's huge drifts along here. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, I think I have snow in my boot. Oh well. The things I do to keep up my so far unbroken record of walks. I'm just going to take a turn through the Cathedral area today. So going up Angus Crescent, go up Angus Street to 13th Avenue, maybe walk along 13th, and then back. Somewhat shorter, but if you happen to catch this live, please leave a note. If you're living somewhere where it has not snowed, well, bully for you. You may experience our joy vicariously. This is what things look like that haven't been shoveled. Lots of snow. Lots of people haven't been out with shovels yet, or aren't going to bother. It's very, a question you have to ask yourself this time of the year. Do I bother? It's all going to melt. In the meantime, it's a nuisance, so I did it. So yeah, I'm getting a haircut today, and then I have an interview of some sort. I should probably look and see who that's with today at noon. I don't know if that's live or what. Then work, of course, and Tangled Stars. As I've said before, I've been struggling with it, and I think what I'm going to do, what I have to do, and I've kind of known it for a while, but I've been resisting it, is go back to the very beginning and rewrite or clean up from the beginning with what I have discovered as I've written about the story and the characters, and sort of taking a run. It's like building up momentum so that when I get back to where I quit, at about 70,000 words in now, I can push through that and carry on for the remaining similar length. According to the contract, I don't actually know how long the book's going to be. It's not necessarily... This is always a fun corner with the tall building there. You can probably hear it in the wind. Oh, that was deeper than I thought. I'm going over to the other side, which appears to be, and the roads are just pure ice too. I'll remember that when I drive later. And a little better cleared over here. So this may be the day when this becomes Faceplant Live, not Facebook Live. What was I saying? Right, so I'll take a fresh run at it and sort of build up momentum, and then hopefully break through my current logjam and power on already behind. And although I haven't been given a get it in by then or else yet, all the same, it is due. And I think it's going to be good. I mean, at times I think it's garbage, but that's just, ask any writer, they'll tell you. Somewhere in the middle, you feel like, really, why am I bothering? Nobody's going to read this. This is awful. This is crap. But I felt that way before on books that then got, starred review in Publishers Weekly. So I know I can't entirely trust that inner critic. The inner critic is something you have to deal with as a writer. And it doesn't go away the more experienced the writer you are. In fact, it may get worse. A little philosophy for you this morning. If you happen to be watching live, please leave me a note. Watching me struggle through the drifts. I don't know exactly how much snow we got, but I'd say it was 10 to 15 centimeters would be my guess. Maybe more. Over the 2 days. It was really two systems. The one that came through and I walked through yesterday, and then like yesterday morning, and then this one came after that and dumped more snow than the first one had. See, you can't see how deep the snow is. The snow all looks the same depth. So there at the corner, kind of stepped down into the gutter, I think, unexpectedly lower. That's what that oof was. The heavy breathing will just be me struggling through the unplowed sections, unshoveled sections. So that's the Tangled Star, the Kickstarter. I'm just waiting for it all to finalize. I could be collecting information from backers now, but you don't know for sure until it's all finalized that everybody's pledge came through. So I'm waiting for that final determination, which shouldn't be long. It's now, well, it'll still be it won't be this week, but probably next week when I get the money, somewhere along in there. And then I will send out surveys to collect people's mailing addresses, which I'll need. Distribute ebooks. I'll do that right away. Various other rewards. I've got a number of things I have to mail, which I will work on over time. So lots of that. And then, of course, there are stories coming in already. I have to edit those, send out contracts, pay authors, work towards publication of Shapers of Worlds Volume 2 from Shadowpaw Press, shadowpawpress.com. Best place to get the ebook for Shapers of Worlds. The first volume is actually directly from Shadowpaw Press. It's not where people tend to go, but you can download the ebook there just as easily as you can from any other bookstore, like Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever else. Difference is I get more of the money if you get it from Shadowpaw Press. See, very, very Christmassy here. It's a shame it's April 13th. A Tuesday the 13th. Oh, it's wandering again. Whenever I turn the gimbal to point it at something else, it gets confused. Maybe I'm doing something not ideal in the way I do that. I suppose what I should use maybe is the little joystick control here. But, unbroken snow here. But it's easier to just, turn your hand, so. And then the gimbal seems to think you want to keep pointing in that direction, and then I have to bring it back again. My nieces used to live in this building a long time ago now. Both married now. One's in Moose Jaw, one's here in Regina. They have children. I think of them as teenagers. They're not. One's a nurse, one's a lawyer. Of course, I think of myself as a teenager about half the time, so I could never understand my mom, you know, and she was way younger than I am now when she was saying this, and I couldn't imagine it then, was she talked about how she always, there's the Artesian, the performance space I talked about, where we used to do shows with Golden Apple Theatre. And it's on this side of 13. Oh, heavy there. She would say that even though she was quite badly affected by rheumatoid arthritis, at the end of her life she'd had 2 knee replacements and hip replacement, shoulders, and she had a hip or not, I remember now. Anyway, but she'd say in her mind, she was still that little barefoot girl growing up in Missouri. Didn't wear shoes in the summertime. That was just something you wore in the wintertime, growing up on a farm. And I couldn't imagine, you know, how my mother could imagine herself to be. Oh, and she loved to run when she was a girl, she said. I had a hard time figuring that out. Now that I'm way older than she was and she was telling me that, I do understand. Because in my head, I'm still Eddie Willett, age 13 or 14 maybe, reading science fiction, wanting to write it, starting to write novels. That's still me. I never liked to run though. I still don't identify with that part of it. I hated running. Whenever I did it, it was just because I had to. Back when I played football. Flat feet, congenitally flat feet. Not a hint of an arch in my footprint. One reason probably I didn't take up skating very well when we moved up here from Texas. I was older than everybody else that had started their skating earlier, of course. 8 is very late to start skating in Saskatchewan. And I had flat feet and it hurt, and my ankles hurt, and I managed to learn how to do it more or less. But hockey and I were never going to be a thing. It's our new liquor store going up, which will be nice for us. Close, anyway. You can walk to get your booze instead of having to drive. I think it's a Sobeys, if I remember right. Gotta watch my footing. There's ice on the sidewalks.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Whew. More snow, more ice. This is my Safeway. This is where I sometimes stop these walks when I had to go in and buy something. Haven't seen any comments this morning, but if you are watching this live, just drop me a note so I know you're there as we walk down 13th here on a somewhat abbreviated walk compared to some. Just a walk along 13th. Lots of little shops. Pete Pet Store. One reason I want to come this way is I want to spot the new location of Penny University Bookstore, which is an independent bookstore that she opened just as the pandemic set in. It was on Albert, and she got a better possibility here. So it's just up here opposite the anthology, the Cathedral. The brain is a funny thing, the word it chooses to go to when you pause concentration for a moment because you're distracted. I find in my writing that happens more than it did when I was younger. If I'm typing, sometimes my fingers, well, my brain, but it feels like it's my fingers, go for a word. That's not the word I'm looking for. See, I almost tripped over the curb there because I couldn't see it. But it's close, you know. It's like the first 2 letters go down and it thinks, Oh, I know what you're going to type. And then it fills it in with the wrong word. You know, so opportunity turns into opposite or something like that. Probably not that one. It tends to be short words, not long words. But it just means the copy editing is, you have to pay more attention. Here's Westminster United. Nice place to sing in. Been in many concerts in there over the years. Canadian Chamber Choir, whom I've sung with a few times. Although the last time was several years ago now. Has performed in there. I didn't perform. Did I perform with them in there? Yes. Or were we in Knoxmet? I think it was here. And a Prairie Chamber Choir that I was a member of, that unfortunately only went for 3 or 4 years. I wasn't part of it the first year. And then it was a great choir, but Dr. Melissa Morgan, who directs it, went to the university as our choir director. And the choir decided to close down rather than look for a new director. There's Penny University in that brick building over there, Penny University Bookstore. That's where they are now. Nice building. I haven't been in yet. They have a lot of my books on consignment and have ordered them in. So one of these days, probably be having a book launch there at some point, because nice place to do that now that that's there. I've done book launches back in the Artesian. They have a nice lounge downstairs made for a nice book launch. Here we are at the Cathedral, which I've walked by in various directions before. Looking up, look way up. As I've also commented before, this sign does not exactly help the impact of the architecture. Still no comments this morning. Everybody in Regina is probably digging out. People elsewhere may be, busy as opposed to walking around snowy Regina with me. I can't imagine it, but I suppose it's possible that they could have something better to do. You may be watching this as a recording, of course, in which case, thank you. Here again is the former nunnery that's now condos. There's a nice chapel in there. I don't know that it's used as a chapel anymore, but it had a nice chapel. I presume it's still there. That was the last time I was in there for anything. Cars heading downtown. So just because, I was going to maybe go that way and cut this off, but that looks like work. That's not been a footprint in that. So maybe I'll go on another block or two and then head down that towards home again. What the streets look like in the snow. There are leaves starting to bud out, but you'd never know it today. I mean, they're still there if I looked. But this actually seems like as much snow as we had on the ground when winter ended and the big melt started. So it's like we've gone back to square one, snow-wise, and getting rid of it wise. But as everybody says, it's good for the farmers. Always nice to find a small stretch of cleared sidewalk, but they are few and far between this morning. I presume there'll be more later, but still. It does add to the exercise component of these walks. And that is really why I'm doing them. Not to garner millions of likes on social media, which is a good thing, because that's not happening. I guess I'll go all the way to Elphinstone now that I've come this far. Any snow here. For some reason it formed a drift there. It's up. I can't say it's up to my knees, but it's up to my calves. Moo. Whew. One more block to Elphinstone, and then we'll be heading home. Oh. Okay. Icy now, but clear of snow. I don't know if that's an improvement or not. There's the Creek and Cathedral Bistro. I hope it's surviving. It'll still be there when things open up, as they certainly are in parts of the world. As long as people aren't idiots and expect COVID to simply completely disappear, it's obviously going to be around just like the flu. Except the flu's disappeared this year. Nobody's entirely sure why. That's a new building. I still don't know what's going in there. And the fact I can't remember what it looked like before they built that, it's a pretty good sign the other building is no great loss. Okay. Oh. Well, we are beside the Connaught Library here. Maybe that's why this is all nicely shoveled. And over there is Connaught School, the new one, replacing one that was over 100 years old, but not in good structural shape. So they tore it down, replaced it with this one. People liked the old school, and there were people who were quite upset about that, as I would be if Davin School were torn down, which it undoubtedly will be at some point. But they did a lot of work on it, and it was a bit younger and in better shape, so it's staying with us for now. But as I said, I think parents who went there and teachers and people had some sort of connection to the old school didn't like the new school. But I think students, given the choice, would say, well, of course I want a brand new school with all the bells and whistles, not that old thing. Still no comments from anybody. Say hi if you're there. It's always nice just to know I'm not mumbling to myself, even though I technically am. Ooh. It's a stream of consciousness. At least you know I'm conscious, not sleepwalking. Well, that would certainly be an interesting... If someone was sleepwalky enough to actually do a live stream of their sleepwalk, that would be cool. I don't think that could happen. I guess you could put a GoPro or something on somebody who's prone to sleepwalking and see what they do. Might be a bit like the people who put cameras on their cats to see what they do at night. Okay, we will, I think, zigzag now back toward home. I'm not just walking down that long straight Connaught. This should be a shorter walk. I hope it is. My haircut's in about an hour. And I need it. Boy, do I need it. I always put off haircuts a little too long. Here's a Wealthbro Alley for you. Except he would not paint the garbage bins and recycle bins. Wealthbro's a local artist who's quite famous for painting back alleys and somehow makes them look artistic because he's a very good artist. We have a couple of his pieces, a couple of paintings and some prints, and I've met him many times. Okay, this side looks nice and clear, so let's walk down this side. Take off my hat, I'm starting to sweat. Particularly want a sweaty head when I go for my appointment. well, I guess if I, stick to my zigzag guns, I end up over here, so. Over here I will go. Thought I'd drop my hat there for a minute. Easier to walk in the street when there's no traffic than on the uncleared sidewalks. At least the streets usually have a rut you can step in. I'm wearing my parka, my leather jackets. I have two. Would have been more of the appropriate weight, but they were both torn. One thing I'm going to do after my haircut is take them to a place in town that repairs leather jackets. One of them has been repaired multiple times. It's like, I thought a leather jacket would be tough. This is a sheepskin, I think, leather. And it tears like paper. Catch it on anything and it just rips like paper. The other one is cow's hide, but it's also ripped a couple of times. Not what I expected from a leather jacket when I got one. But I guess if I get another one sometime, I will expect it. But, I try to be careful. But it takes so little. Like the big rip on the one I've been wearing all the time I've been out here walking. I didn't even catch it on something sharp. It was on like the rounded little metal plate that the door latches into. I don't know what you call that. Lock plate, maybe? I don't know. No, not really a sharp edge. It still ripped this huge tear in the sleeve. But I've had them fixed before. I'll get them fixed again. They won't be as good as new, but they'll be better than having a rip in them. Another nice cleared stretch. Always a joy. Which street are we on? I lose track zigzagging. This is Athol, okay. There we go, this side. Not cleared, but it seems to be, maybe because of the way the wind was blowing, the snow seems to be a little less on the north side than the south side. Canada Post truck. Not a single greeting from anyone watching this live this morning. I am appalled. How am I going to make money at this if I can't get 1,000 people subscribed to my channel? The answer is, of course, I will never make money at this. Not really why I'm doing it. But I think I'm getting my exercise. Probably showing the ground a little more than I usually do because I keep pointing down when I'm looking down to see what my footing's going to be. Okay. We want to go another block, which will put us on College. Oh, look at this. Look at all that lovely cleared sidewalk. That's nice. At least I've already brushed the snow off the car, which was a bit of a job. When I was out shoveling the walk this morning, I did that. So it's more or less ready to just get in and drive. Because what often happens around here, if you're not thinking, is I'll allow myself just enough time to get somewhere. And then you forget that if it's morning, you might have to scrape the car, or you might have to sweep snow off the car, or both this morning because there was a layer of ice that formed first and the snow on top of it. So I had to scrape the windows pretty hard to get that off. And, you know, I've lived here since I was 8. You'd think I would remember the scraping and the brushing after there's been snow, but your brain always thinks, I'll just hop in the car and go, unless you consciously think about it. Another snowy alley, and then you can see the fall down toward the creek from up here, so it's actually downhill quite a bit. I guess this is where all the snow will run when it melts, right down that way to the creek. And of course, at the end of this is the bowl that I've shown before, where kids like to go tobogganing, which they can do again for a day or two here if they want to. It's not supposed to get above freezing today, I don't think, or maybe even tomorrow. But then as the week goes along, it warms back up, and this will all turn to slush and water, which, if you keep walking with me, you will see. Oh, this side's been nicely cleared. College, heading east. If you're following on Google Maps, coming up on College and Angus Crescent. And Angus Crescent is where I live, so we'll turn right, make the way home, and that will be today's walk. One that apparently nobody's watching live. Or they just don't want me to comment. That's entirely possible too. I have coffee waiting for me at home again, so that'll be nice. Although when I come in, I'm warm enough. Sometimes I almost want something cold instead. All right. Down Crescent, which is the same way I ended yesterday. Down Crescent, down Angus. Same way I ended yesterday's walk. So we'll go down this side, which looks better cleared anyway, because I walked down the other side yesterday. This is also quite downhill. Last fall when I was jogging it was another place. It was nice to turn that corner and start down Angus Crescent, because it's quite downhill, you know, by Saskatchewan standards. It's not exactly San Francisco downhill, but it's not completely flat, at least. Yeah, I think on YouTube I'll title this one The Return of Snow Part 4. This time it's personal. Or The Return of Winter, something like that. I didn't fall. I have yet to fall while doing one of these, which is good, because I don't want to fall. Didn't like falling when I was young. I'm going to hate it even worse. I keep getting older. And I keep getting older. It's like, what's with that? Considering, as I said, at least some of the time, maybe even most of the time, I still feel like Edward Willett, teenager extraordinaire. I was not well, I shouldn't say that. I'm sure I was extraordinary in some ways, but in many ways I was a very not extraordinary teenager. Certainly not one of those popular big man around campus type teenagers you see in movies, but maybe those don't really exist in real life. I think most teens are actually more awkward than even the cool ones let on. Maybe the cool ones are the most insecure of all, striving so hard to be cool. Therein lies Minnie, a YA novel. I gave up on cool a long time ago. Just down to the corner and we'll be done. Last chance to say hi live if you're on here. Even if it's just to say hello, goodbye. And we're almost there. Oh, people have been pretty good on this side, which is nice. I don't blame anybody for just leaving it to melt. It will be melting by this weekend. By next week it'll be gone completely, I would think. So hopefully this is the last big snow we get. They have come much later than this, so I said I can remember at least one Victoria Day in May snowstorm, right when everybody wants to go out camping for the first time. Not me, not much of a camper. My idea of camping is being on the Banff Springs Hotel terrace looking out over the Bow Valley. Lovely view from the bar. Feels like you're right out there camping. Only with overpriced beer. Okay. Here's our intersection. And that's it for today. Tomorrow's, I have no idea where I'll go. It'll probably still be white. Hopefully a little more snow clearing has taken place. Thanks for watching live or watching the recording. Bye for now.